Lesson 3. Receiving and Storage of Safe Food. Remember, in an earlier lesson, you learned that HACCP focuses on how food flows through the food service process, from purchasing through reheating. You were told there are a variety of potential hazards at each step. In each of these steps, appropriate precautions known as critical control points must be taken to prevent foodborne illness. In this lesson, you will discover the employee's role in safe food purchasing, receiving, and storage, proper receiving procedures, and proper storage practices. The goal of receiving and storage is to keep food safe, wholesome, and appetizing. Meals taste better and are superior nutritionally if all foods used to prepare them are at the peak of quality. Careful menu planning, good buying practices, and good storage procedures all help to provide quality meals. After this lesson, you will be able to determine appropriate receiving and storage practices. When purchasing food to meet your menu requirements, you need to choose your vendors wisely, because the safety of the food being transported to you is in the hands of the vendors. When food arrives at an operation, it is as good as it is ever going to get. Only accept wholesome, safe food. By rejecting food that is spoiled or contaminated, you are ensuring that it will never reach your customers. There are several things to keep in mind that will guide you when a food delivery arrives at your facility. Plan ahead for deliveries to ensure there is sufficient space in refrigerators and freezers. Note the condition of the delivery truck when it arrives. Does it look and smell clean? Is it equipped with proper food storage equipment? Keep the receiving area well lit and free of empty containers, packing material, food particles, and debris. Keep sanitary carts handy for transporting goods. Mark all items for storage with the date of arrival or the use-by date. Check the expiration dates of milk, eggs, and other perishable goods. Check the temperature of refrigerated and frozen foods. Make sure frozen foods are in airtight, moisture-proof wrappings. Reject thawed and refrozen food. Look for signs such as large crystals, solid areas of ice, or excessive ice in containers. Reject cans with swollen sides or ends, flawed seals and seams, rust, or dents. Reject any cans whose contents are foamy or bad smelling. Look for content damage and insect infestations. Reject dairy, bakery, or other foods delivered in flats or crates that are dirty. Would you reject or accept the delivery of food in the following scenarios? After reading the question, click to see the answer. Note, after clicking to see the answer, the next question will automatically appear. Thermometers can be the single most important items in the protection of food. There are a number of thermometers that are used in the food service facility. Some are used to measure the temperature of food. Others are used to measure the temperature in storage areas and of equipment. Built-in hang-type or sitting thermometers are required in refrigerator and freezer equipment. Hot holding equipment and dishwashers have built-in thermometers. Choosing the right food thermometer and using it properly is of critical importance. ND Food Code Section 42. Thermometers, Food. 3. Thermometers shall be provided and readily accessible for the use in ensuring attainment and maintenance of food temperatures as specified in Sections 11 and 11.4. 4. Each hot and cold storage facility storing potentially hazardous food shall be provided with a numerically scaled recording or indicating thermometer. If it is impractical to install thermometers on equipment such as steam tables or insulated food transport carriers, a product thermometer must be available and used to check internal food temperature. Notice, this is a critical control point. A STEM thermometer should be calibrated after taking the temperature of something very hot or very cold, or after dropping the thermometer. Hand-type or sitting thermometers can become damaged. Use the bimetallic STEM thermometer to verify the accuracy. Calibrate the thermometer by inserting the sensing portion, STEM, in a minimum of 2 inches of ice-water slush. Using a small wrench, hold the thermometer by the calibration nut, then turn the dial to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees centigrade. Make sure to wash, rinse, sanitize, and air dry thermometers before and after each use. Depending upon what is being measured, there are different methods of taking the temperature of foods. 1. Stick sensing area into the thickest part of food. Measure in 2 places. 2. Open one package of individual packages and stick sensing area into its contents. 3. Fold soft packages around the sensing area. 4. Stick sensing area between packages for frozen foods or tightly packed boxes. When taking a temperature, once the needle stops moving on the thermometer, wait 15 seconds to make sure the temperature doesn't vary. Then record. The purpose of proper storage is to prevent contamination of foods and to prevent the growth of bacteria that may already be in foods. Storage involves 3 major areas. 1. Refrigerated storage. 2. Freezer storage. And 3. Dry storage. Correct temperatures for food storage should be as shown on the slide. Refrigerator milk cooler, 34 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Freezer, -10 to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Dry storage, 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a good idea to have several thermometers in different parts of the 3 types of storage areas to ensure consistent temperature and accuracy of instruments. Use a temperature control record, such as pictured, to record temperatures daily. This chart is made so it can be used for all 3 areas: dry, refrigerator, and freezer. Refrigerated storage. A refrigerator is designed to receive cold food and keep it cold. Refrigeration slows bacteria growth. The colder a food is, the safer it is. Refrigerate food so that the food temperature is always 41 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Keep track of the temperatures by utilizing the temperature control record. All refrigerated foods should be dated and properly sealed. ND Food Code Section 7.1. Ready to eat potentially hazardous food. Date marking. Refrigerated, ready-to-eat, potentially hazardous food prepared and held in a food establishment for more than 24 hours shall be clearly marked to indicate the date or day by which the food shall be consumed on the premises, sold, or discarded, based on the temperature and time combinations. The day of preparation shall be counted as day 1. Notice this is a critical control point. Keep food in clean, non-absorbent, covered containers that are approved for food storage. Store dairy products separately from foods with strong odors like onions and cabbage. Wrap or cover foods, but do not cover food with clean cloth towels because they are absorbent. Your refrigeration unit should contain open, slotted shelving to allow cold air to circulate around food. Do not line shelves with foil or paper. Also, do not overload the refrigerator, and be sure to leave space between items to further improve air circulation. Do not put large amounts of hot food in the refrigerator. To avoid cross-contamination, store raw or uncooked food away from and below prepared or ready-to-eat food. Storing raw food above ready-to-eat food may allow raw food to drip into the prepared food, thereby contaminating it. Never allow fluids from raw poultry, fish, or meat to come into contact with other foods. Freezer storage. Freezing does not kill bacteria, but it keeps disease-causing bacteria from multiplying. There must be a short amount of time as possible between receiving a frozen product and placing it into 0 degrees Fahrenheit storage. It is ideal for the delivery to go right into the walk-in freezer. Frozen foods should be tightly wrapped to prevent freezer burn. Store foods in original wrappings and container when possible. Shelving should be off the floor and away from the walls to aid in cleaning and air circulation. Like your refrigeration unit, the freezer should allow cold air to circulate around foods easily. Avoid overstocking your freezer. Practice FIFO. FIFO is the acronym for First In, First Out. Use the item that has been in the freezer the longest before using a fresher-like item. As an example, if you have 2 pounds of ground beef in the freezer and 18 more pounds of ground beef are delivered to you, be sure to use the 2 pounds you originally had before using any of the 18 pounds just delivered. Rotate your items so the ones you've had the longest are in front or on top of the stack. Use the temperature control record to record temperatures daily. Remember that frequently opening or closing the freezer's door can raise the temperature. Dry storage. Similar to freezer storage, practice the FIFO rotation method with your dry storage items. Although these foods are least likely to support bacterial growth, they should not be neglected. We tend to think that canned and dry goods have an indefinite lifespan, but 1 year is the recommended maximum storage time under ideal conditions. Do not overcrowd the storage area. Foods should be at room temperature of 70 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. 50 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit without extreme variations should be maintained. Utilize the temperature control record. Clean up spills immediately. Keep food away from pipes, condensation lines, refrigerator units, windows, and sunlight. Do not place any food items on the floor, and store food away from walls and 6 inches above the floor. ND Food Code Section 6, General Food Storage. Containers of food shall be stored a minimum of 6 inches, 15.24 centimeters, above the floor in a manner that protects the food from splash and other contamination, and that permits easy cleaning of the storage area. To reiterate, do not place any food items on the floor. Do not store trash or garbage cans in food storage areas. Keep chemicals away from food at all times. Store them with labels in their own section in the storeroom, away from all food supplies. Looking at the choices below, in which order should the types of food be transferred to their respective storage area when receiving a variety of dry, frozen, and refrigerated foods? The answer: C. Refrigerated items should be stored first, followed by the frozen items. The items for dry storage, including chemicals, should be stored last. The rationale is that the refrigerated items would be the first items to enter the temperature danger zone, so they should be stored first. Ultimately, it is the responsibility of the food service employee to understand his or her role in safe food receiving and storage, the food temperature danger zone, proper receiving procedures, and proper storage practices. Before doing the review for this lesson, let's grab your pencil and paper and write down the fourth digit of the training code. Are you ready? The fourth digit is a capital J. Take a little time to review what you've learned in this lesson by answering these 9 questions. Here are the answers. Did you respond correctly? Please click on this link to go to Lesson 4, Protecting Food in Preparation.